Hey, Haley.
Hey, Tasha.
You ready to get the salt?
I'm ready to get the salt. You ready to get the salt?
Fuck yeah, I'm ready to get the salt.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. So we are starting on episode 6, and it is called Skin.
Skin.
Or Goop That Melts.
Goopy skin?
Goopy skin.
Yeah, that's goopy.
Looks like snot.
It does. Looks like bubbly, goopy skin snot.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, the episode is just called Skin.
It starts out in St. Louis, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And you see SWAT raiding a house where some killer is, like, torturing a woman.
Yeah, and we see that, like, the chick tied up in the chair that's being tortured. We see the backside of the guy who's torturing. We see a knife. And there's, it's just kind of, shit's happening.
It kind of looks like the beginning of a Criminal Minds episode.
Yeah, because there's fucking blood everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the SWAT guy...
I fucking hate the smell of blood.
It smells like hamburger to me if I smell too much blood. It does. It just smells like just meat.
To me, I smell like the metallic. Like, it smells like metal.
See, and that doesn't bother me.
I can't even stand next to, like, a printer because the ink, when it comes out and hot on the paper, it smells metallic, and it smells like blood to me.
See, and I like that.
I can't. Nope.
I like weird things like that, and I like blood, and blood's fun. But sometimes blood is fun. Not always.
But
too much blood, and it starts to smell like hamburger.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
Just like raw meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck.
So SWAT, like, turns around, and come to find out it's Dean.
Yeah, SWAT's chasing the guy through the house, and he makes it, like, to the second-story balcony door, and they have him at gunpoint, and when he turns around, it's Dean.
Surprise, surprises. I honestly, at first, was not sure how I felt about this. When I first saw it, I'm like, the fuck is going on? And then I also thought maybe he was torturing a demon, and somebody heard it and called him in.
Yeah.
Or... I don't know, maybe the thing was possessed and he just happened to get there in time. But the look on his face was kind of sinister.
Yeah, he doesn't really, all of those theories make sense when you think about it, because why the fuck would Dean be torturing, like, an actual human being? But the look on his face when he turns around, it doesn't look, it's Dean, obviously, but it doesn't look like him. He's got it, like, his...
It's just a really dark look in his face.
Yeah, it just doesn't look right. Something is off about it. I guess that's a good way to put it, but...
Yeah. And then it cuts to 1 week earlier, and Sam and Dean are going to a different job, but of course, Sam is being fucking whiny bitch Sam, and he's checking emails and responding to his friends, because he just can't ditch his friends.
He's on his Palm Pilot.
A fucking Palm Pilot.
With the little stylus pen and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... But yeah, he's still keeping in touch with his college buddies.
And I agree with Dean on this. Like, what's the point in that? You're not ever going to be able to be friends with them, really. Like, what...
Yeah, and also,
too, you're
Dean
always going to lie to them.
Yeah, Dean even says, like, what have you been telling them that you're doing this whole time? And he's like, well, that I'm on a road trip with my brother. And Dean's like, okay, you're lying to them.
I'm just not telling them the whole truth.
Yeah, that's lying.
That's lying.
So...
That's what I say to my kids all the time. Well, I just didn't see the point in telling everything. You get in more trouble if you lie to me.
Yeah. But Dean tries to tell him, like, just sever all ties, dude. With what we do and the life that we live, it's
too much.
You're gonna drive yourself crazy pretty much if you try to play both sides, or, like, I don't know. It wouldn't work out.
Yeah. But Sam finds an email from an old friend, or a sister of an old friend, Rebecca. And
I think, I don't know. I think he's friends with both of them.
Little Becky or
something.
Yeah,
maybe he's friends with both of them. I don't know.
But he gets an email, and it says that her brother Zach is in jail or going to jail for murder. I guess it says that he murdered his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she doesn't believe it really happened, so...
Well, she doesn't believe it really happened. Sam doesn't believe it really happened because that's just not who Zach is, and he's not that type of person, and blah, 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 blah. And so...
And Dean's like, well, I mean, maybe you knew Zach as much as Zach knew you.
Yeah.
Which, mind blown. Ooh,
Bazinga.
that's deep. And that's what she said.
Yeah. Mm.
But Sam will not let it go. He makes Dean go to their house. Or the parents' house.
They were headed to Bisbee, Arizona, and they were like 400 miles away from the St. Louis or wherever they are. Is it St. Louis? Yeah. So wherever Rebecca is, or little Becky or whoever, his little Palm Pilot pen pal. So they drive 400 miles in the opposite direction, which is like the distance between Boise and Portland.
Yeah. So
that's like
8 hours
in the wrong direction. Rude. I'd be
but we
mad.
have to go save my friends.
Ugh. Sammy, little whiny bitch.
So they go to Rebecca's parents' house. By the way, it's not even a house. It's a fucking mansion. Like, I would need a maid to clean that house. I need a maid to clean my house.
Well, yeah, they are
but
living
I would
in...
need a maid to clean that house.
They're living in... her parents, they're in Paris or something for like half the year. You would have to have a maid to be able to keep up on all the cleaning while you're gone.
I mean, everything's just going to collect dust. But, I mean, what are you're going to get home and just like...
I need to use this plate. Well, and maybe mice. Like, I mean, I'm sure they'd probably find their way in there, too.
True.
Yeah.
True. Nothing is safe from those fuckers.
Right?
So they are talking to Rebecca about the murder. She does not believe that her brother did it. She says that he literally had to be in 2 places at once.
Right, because she was saying that he was at their parents' house with her, having a couple of beers till like well after midnight.
Yeah, and the cops are saying the murder took place around 10:30.
Uh-huh.
So
and they have surveillance footage from the fucking camera across the street showing
has
him
4 different views.
I
of
know.
It. Like, how the fuck does one camera have 4 different angles
it
all over the place?
And they only mentioned the one fucking camera, but when we see the surveillance video later, there's 4 different views, like 4 different angles.
Yeah. Ugh. And Rebecca's like, well, how can you guys help? Like, I know you're wanting to help, but how? And Sam's like, well, I can't help. But Dean here can. Have you met Dean?
Have you met Dean? And he tries to tell him that he's a cop.
From Bisbee, Arizona.
Bisbee, Arizona. And
where they need to be going.
Yeah, where they should have been in the first place. And Dean kind of corrects him. He's like, no, I'm a detective. Not a cop, a detective.
Excuse me.
Excuse you.
They talk Rebecca into letting them into the crime scene, which is Zach's house.
Right.
Which, I mean, real life, that's a huge no-no. That's tampering with evidence.
Yeah.
I don't know who in their right mind, especially when, isn't she supposed to be going to, like, law school or something?
Oh, I don't know. Well, why? Because that's where Sam was?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would think that even if you were just family members with the lawyer, you would at least fucking know the law. But apparently, she does not.
Yeah.
So they go in, they start looking around, and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Fucking gross.
Well, she starts crying. Rebecca starts crying because there's so much blood. Because it's
overwhelming. I can only imagine how bad it smells like days later. All of that blood, all of that rotting food.
Ew.
Like, that would be so gross to smell in there. I don't understand how.
Ew.
I mean, they did great at pretending they couldn't smell anything. Well, they can't.
Well, they can't because it's not really a crime scene, but you know. But when they're going through checking shit out, you like continuously hear the neighbor's dog barking and losing his shit.
Yeah.
Like in the background as they're walking through the house, and then Dean mentions it, like,
yeah, what's up with the dog?
That dog's a little out of control. And Rebecca is like, yeah, it used to be the sweetest dog. Used to be such a sweet dog. Well, what the fuck happened? She's like, I don't know. He kind of changed around the time of the murder. Huh, weird.
And then that's when the ears perk up. What?
Yeah. So when they come back in from talking about the dog losing its shit around the time of the murder, Sam kind of gives us the little, I don't know, nugget of information where, you know, animals have a keen sense of the paranormal. So maybe something did go down here, you know?
Yeah.
Because Dean, all the while, is not believing that this is their type of thing. Like, he's in jail for murder. It's a person murdering a person. This is not what we investigate.
It's a cut and dry case.
Yeah,
but
and
it's not.
I think this is our kind of problem. 2 places at once. We've looked into less.
Sam is trying to see all the shit that makes it their type of thing, and Dean is trying to not see all of the shit.
Because he just wants to go to Bisbee.
Yeah, whatever is in Bisbee, because we never find out.
So Rebecca also says that there's no sign of break-in to Zach's house. She has no idea who could have done it. The dog's barking. Everything's going crazy.
Well, and she does tell, too, that there was a break-in. Somebody broke into the house like a week or so before the murder happened and stole a bunch of Zach's clothes.
But they didn't correlate the two because they lived close to downtown.
Yeah, they don't think anything means anything.
Yeah. So they start to tell her, you know, we need to see that tape. We need to see the tape that of the security cameras. We need to see what's going on. Maybe we can catch something on it.
Think you could talk to your lawyer about that there, Rebecca?
Oh, I don't need to. I stole it from his desk.
I already have it.
You naughty girl.
Well, maybe she's a little bit more fun than we thought.
Dirty little duder. It cuts over to, I want to say, like, Zach with rabbit ears, like, quotes around it, like, Zach.
Yeah.
Because Zach's in prison. So there's another person, Zach, mind blow.
Yes.
Watching this other dude leave to go to work while his wife stays home. Like, I have to go do this. I'll make it up to you when I get home.
Yeah.
And just like Dean's face in the beginning of the show, all I can describe Zach's face in this is it's sinister.
Well,
like, he just looks like darkly satisfied with something.
Yeah, and we know that it's Zach for sure because it kind of like zoomed in, like a slow zoom in on a picture of Rebecca, Zach, and Sam. And when we get to, like, it zooms into Zach's face, it like fades into the rabbit ear other Zach sitting outside this guy's house. So we know it's him because they showed us a picture of him.
Yeah. So
otherwise, it would have just looked like a random fucking person sitting outside the guy's house.
Yeah. So it is their kind of case.
Well, and because, too, when the guy drives off and the rabbit ear other Zach gets that dark, satisfied look on his face, his eyes flicker.
Yes, they go white.
Yeah, his eyes kind of do this, like...
it's like a flash.
It is like a flash, and it kind of... the sound that it makes that they have it make when it, like, flicks over, it reminds me of, like, a crocodile eyelid when it, like... Because your eyelids blink from top to bottom, and then crocodiles and some reptiles have a second eyelid that blinks from, like, outside to inside to, like, protect their eyeballs.
It sounds like a click.
Yeah. It's like, flick, flick.
Yeah.
But it flicks and his eyes turn white. So we know at this point that, yeah, they're there for, they're going to find something there if they keep digging, but they're still just kind of...
Dean still just doesn't believe.
Yeah.
He's a non-believer when he should be a believer.
Fight the fairies, Sam. Fight the fairies. I can't wait till we get to that episode.
Me neither. That's one of my favorites.
I know. Nipples? I can't wait. Oh, stay tuned, listeners. It's going to get real fucking good.
It's so fun.
They're in the living room over at Rebecca's house, and they're watching the tape that she had stolen off the lawyer's desk. And they're watching all 4 fucking angles when there's only
on the
one camera. But anyway, so they're watching all the angles of this camera, and Sam sees something and tells Rebecca,
We'll take those beers now.
We'll take those beers now. And maybe a sandwich,
Because he wants Hooters.
Yeah.
This ain't Hooters here.
Oh, give me your Hooters. But
she's too skinny for my taste.
Yeah, she is pretty skinny. I'm not a fan of her lip gloss either.
It's the early 2000s.
I know.
It's the Paris Hilton look.
I didn't like it.
Low jeans. Like right above the vagina, low jeans.
Yeah.
And
super glossy lip gloss.
Yeah,
even my
like
lipstick
your lips could drip off.
Yeah, even my lipstick now is all matte. because I never wore the glossy stuff because I didn't really like it.
I was not a fan.
Nope. I'm like, chapstick? Yeah, sure.
I have chapstick everywhere in my house, like hidden in cupboards and drawers.
Yes.
Everywhere in my house. I'm like, oh, I need chapstick. Oh, it's right here. Let me dig down in my cushion.
Let me reach into my cushion and grab my chapstick.
and put it back.
My lip chap. But they're watching this video, and Sam sees something, has Rebecca go into the kitchen so that he can talk to Dean about it. And they're talking about the way that the Zach, the rabbit ear Zach on the camera, the way that his eyes flicker. And Sam's like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's or Dean said, one of them says.
Dean says it might be a camera flare.
It might be a camera flare. And Sam's like,
That's not like any camera flare I've ever seen. You know, a lot of cultures believe that a photograph can catch a glimpse of the soul. Right. Remember that dog that was freaking out? Maybe he saw this thing. Maybe this is some kind of dark double of Zach's. Something that looks like him but isn't him.
Like a doppelganger.
Yeah, that'd sure explain how he has two places at once.
They have that little epiphany, and then it shows the guy that Zach was watching. It shows him coming home early from work, and he's like, honey, I'm home.
yeah, the client canceled. I don't have to go out of town anymore. Like,
Yeah.
surprise.
And he's looking around and he sees blood on the wall. So, of course, like anybody who's in love with someone, they're going to freak out and start looking for their significant other.
Right.
So he starts, tearing around the house, and he finds his wife, and he takes the mouth thing, the gag. It's a gag.
The mouth thing.
The thingy in the mouth
Yeah,
thing.
because she's tied to a chair. She's bound and gagged.
Yeah. And he takes it out, and she starts, like, begging, leave me alone, please go away,
Please
don't hurt me anymore.
Yeah.
And, it hurts my heart to hear her just, begging. God,
it probably
sucks.
hurts his heart, too.
Yeah, because he doesn't understand.
He just got
why?
home. Yeah, but he's hearing somebody else moving through the house, and so he turns around to go and find this other obviously he knows that there's a break-in that has happened, but she's thinking that he's the one that's hurting her.
Yeah.
So he goes to find the person who broke in, and he runs into himself basically in the hallway.
And other him knocks him out.
Yeah, him and other him.
Him and other him. Because this could not be any more confusing
I
when
know,
you're
I was
trying
gonna
to
say,
verbally explain it to someone.
Please, listeners, just hang on, because this is not the easiest episode to explain, because there's him and other him, and Zach and other Zach, and rabbit ear this, and air quotations that. Just hang on. We'll tell you what it is in a minute.
You'll figure it out in just a second. So after they knock the guy out, after the other dude knocks the dude out, Sam and Dean go back to Zach's house because Sam,
super smart Sam,
figures out that they watched the other Zach go into the house, but they didn't see him go out of the house.
Because when the cops showed up, they showed up and arrested Zach.
Yeah, they thought they had their guy.
Right.
But they did not. So Sam is going to the back of Zach's house to see if he can find
a trail that the cops may not have even thought to look for, because they thought that they caught the person that did the crime in the first place.
So they're looking around in the alleyway, and Sam finds blood on a telephone pole.
It almost looks like a handprint, like somebody braced themselves on the telephone pole and then wiped off.
Yeah. Well, they fucking exerted themselves so much from beating the shit out of the woman that, I mean...
Garbage.
Yeah. Then they see an ambulance fly by. Mm-hmm. Sirens and
I'm so glad you
lights.
said that word, because I can't say that word right.
Astor calls it an ambience.
Aw,
An ambience.
that's even cuter than how I say it, because I say it sounds all fucked up.
But the ambulance goes by, and they see this dude in his suit and tie being arrested because his wife is saying that he tried to kill her.
Right, yeah, because the wife survives, unlike Zach's girlfriend, Emily, who ended up dying. But this wife survives because the real guy came home and kind of interrupted what was happening.
Yeah, and a neighbor is like, I don't understand. I say hi to him every day. He seems like the nicest guy.
Yeah.
So Sam and Dean go back over to Zach's house after this. He's like, we can't find anything. It might be a shapeshifter, but have we ever seen a shapeshifter fly?
Let me ask you this. In all this shapeshifter lore, can any of them fly?
Not that I know of.
I picked up a trail here. Someone ran out of the back of this building, headed off this way.
Oh, just like your friend's house.
Yeah, and just like at Zach's house, the trail suddenly ends. I mean, whatever it is, just disappeared.
Well, there's another way to go. Down.
So they look around and they find like manhole covers next to the houses. And so they their ears perk up, and maybe he's using the sewer system to get in between house to house and how he's escaping.
So they go down into the sewer system.
They find his lair.
They find the lair, the villain's lair. They call it a lair.
They do call it a lair. And
it makes me think of Dungeons and Dragons.
It's my lair. I think of like a layer, like Layer, not Lair. Lair.
Lair, yes. Like a villain's lair. What is it, Layer?
Like a layer. Like ogres have layers. Like a layer, like an onion, like a layer of things.
I was like, what? There's another word. Oh my God.
I think of Shrek when I hear layer. Like
like an onion.
Like an onion. But it's layer and it's layer. Like there's fuck, I can't.
They're pronounced the same when you say it fast.
Right? That's okay.
I honestly was like, what is
What are you talking about? I have a reason, I promise.
I felt like such a fucking idiot.
I felt like an idiot. I'm like, did I spell it wrong? Am I saying it wrong? What's happening?
Anyway, they go to find the lair. They find goo, and it looks like hair and skin and everything melted together.
Yeah, this
and
goopy.
Dean is like, maybe a shapeshifter
sheds his skin
every time it shifts. And all I keep thinking is, man, you would have to eat so much to like put up with that type of like bodily exertion. Like there's just so much. You'd have to eat all of the time. You'd be hungry nonstop.
I could be a shapeshifter. If that meant I could eat whatever I wanted and just shift into someone who's skinny. Fuck yeah.
I would eat whatever I wanted.
Sign me up.
Dude.
Because all you got to really do is like touch the person to be able to shift into them.
I don't know if I would want that many people's memories.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
Well, I mean, you would have to keep them alive.
I don't know if I would be a shapeshifter now.
Mm-mm. Well, I mean,
seems like
if
a lot.
I wish if I could be a shapeshifter, I wish that I could like pick and choose parts of people that I could like shift into.
I want your arms, and I want your legs, and I want your butt.
I like your boobs.
And I like your nose.
Boop.
And poof.
Be like your own little Frankenstein.
Oh, you would.
That would be cool. Unfortunately, that's apparently not how shapeshifters work.
I don't think so.
I want to know what a shapeshifter, like what they look like.
Like what their actual form is?
Yeah, because the guy says, well, you find this out anyway, but the guy says that, like, you're so ugly to society that you find a way to adapt. So, like, the question is, what do you really look like?
But
if you
ugly,
are so...
like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
True, but, like, is it, like, some sort of, like, Igor-looking motherfucker that decides that he...
Igor-looking motherfucker?
Like a humpback, like, from Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah. Or like Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah. Eat.
I don't know. Because, like, you could have, like, body dysmorphia, kind of. Like, you look in the mirror and you see something completely different than what...
Yeah, well, that's more mental than it is, like...
But you could also use the argument that shapeshifters could have a mental disability because maybe they do feel, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot there.
I get that, but it says that evolution changed them to adapt to society. So that's why I think it's more physical than it is like a mental disorder where it's body dysmorphia.
Interesting.
That's why.
This could get real. There's a lot of layers here. Okay, so back to the being down in the layers. They decide that possibly the reason why there's so much body goop is because of them shedding their skin.
Every single time they shift.
They go up to the car, up to Baby, to dig around in the trunk and get silver bullets.
Yeah, because they know that is a surefire way of killing a shapeshifter, is a silver bullet to the heart.
Right. And at this point, Rebecca calls Sam, because she had figured it out that...
Yeah, Dean's not really a cop or a detective.
And they could have totally, like, royally fucked over her brother's case because they entered the crime scene, and she's fucking pissed.
I would be, too.
I
mean, rightfully so.
Rightfully. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, she's pissed. They end up having,
Dean's like, this is why we don't fucking have friends. This
is why we can't have nice things, Sam. Fuck.
You gotta just stomp all over it, dude. Just gotta have friends.
Not have friends.
Not have friends. Makes life easier.
I hate to say it, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. You lie to your friends because if they knew the real you, they'd be freaked. It's just... It'd be easier
If I was like you.
Hey, man, like it or not, we are not like other people. But I tell you one thing. This whole gig... It ain't without perks.
Okay, so they go back down to...
The sewers.
The
lair.
The lair. They go back down there armed with their silver bullets, and as they're walking around, Sam almost, like, wipes his face across some body goop, and they get grossed out, and...
They get taken by surprise by the shapeshifter because they're so fascinated with the body goop.
Yeah.
And Dean gets hit in the left arm by the shapeshifter. Like, they try to shoot at it, they miss. Of course they do, because it's barely, almost halfway through the show, so can't kill him
you can't hit him yet.
So they miss. He gets out, and he kind of leads them up through a manhole through the park. So when they get out of the manhole, they realize, oh, fuck, we're in the middle of people, so they have to, like, hide their guns.
Yeah.
And then they have the dumbest fucking idea ever.
To split up.
Like, it doesn't work out. Ever. It doesn't work out in any movies. It doesn't work out, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You don't fucking split up.
No.
Chucky, you don't split up.
No. Did you ever watch the Leprechaun movie with Jennifer Aniston?
Oh, my God. You just don't
split up. That's what I was saying.
So they split up.
Use the buddy system, people.
And then Dean, quotation marks, Dean.
Yeah, so here we go again. Hang on, guys, because we're going back into the...
Dean and other Dean.
Yes.
The others.
Ooh, that was a good one, too. That was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
That one had Nicole Kidman in it. Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
Yeah, they were ghosts, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a car pulls out in front of Dean as he meets other Dean, as he meets up with Sam, and
they're trying to cross the street to go back to the car because, did you find him? No, I didn't find him. Did you find him? No, I didn't see anything. Okay, let's just go back to the car. And Sam walks across the street, and a car comes around the corner, so Dean hangs back for a second to wait to cross. And as the headlights shine onto Dean's face, his eyes flicker.
Turn white. And then as they're coming up to Baby's the car. Get it together, guys.
You should know this by now.
They go up to Baby, and Dean's like, well, give me the keys. Like, we're going to go. And he catches them with his left hand.
Yeah, and Sam's like, nope.
Wait.
You fucking hurt yourself. Like, to the point where you were grabbing your shoulder, and it was, I don't know.
Yeah, it was painful for you to lift your arm. Like, this is not you. Mm-hmm. So Sam, being super smart Sam, he totally caught on, and he, pulls a gun on other Dean. He's like, what the fuck, man? You're not going to shoot your brother.
Well, and he hesitates.
And he's asking him questions about their real life.
Like, things that happened in the past. But
and he pauses. It's almost like he's combing through a filing system.
Yeah.
But he pauses and he figures it out, but he hesitates on pulling the trigger.
And the quotations, other Dean uses that opportunity to knock him out. Yeah. This shapeshifter's got to have a fucking mean punch because he keeps knocking people out.
I've also
easily.
Noticed that in this show in general, people get knocked out with one punch a lot.
Except for when they want him to get knocked out with one punch. Then it's like,
that didn't
boom,
work.
Boom, boom. Yeah, so. But it's a TV show.
Yeah. So the shapeshifter ties up Sam and Dean in His lair.
Well, we don't know Dean's down there just yet. We
No.
see Dean talking to, well, Shifter Dean talking to Sam, and like we watch Shifter Dean like kind of like processing through his head and kind of almost like downloading his thoughts and memories from Dean.
And pretty much making Sam feel like shit. Because
Yeah, he's being a fucking asshole. Well, I mean, he's a fucking monster, but still, he's being an asshole.
Yeah.
And telling him things like, I'm jealous of you because you got out and you were...
You made a life for yourself. And
he's just being awful to him. And whether it was memories or thoughts that Dean had, like, at that time that Sam got out.
But he's using it against him now.
Or currently, we don't know when he had those thoughts, but if he's downloading memories and processing through different emotions and stuff that Dean actually felt, who's to say when he had these thoughts? But he's just being a fucking dick.
Yeah, just making Sam feel like the shittiest brother ever.
Yeah. Shifter Dean, like, throws a tarp or something.
Over Sam,
as, and then he says something kind of along the lines of, I wonder what Rebecca's up to. Like, kind of hints at the fact that he's going to go and...
Yeah. Go talk to Rebecca.
Not be a very nice person.
Yeah, and that's when we find out the shapeshifter pretty much takes Dean's meat suit to go see Rebecca.
His meat suit.
His meat suit.
I
love
that's a good
that.
one. I know.
Meat suit. And as the shapeshifter goes to do this, Sam, like, of course, tries to start escaping.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
And then
blame
that's
him.
when we find out that Dino's hidden under a tarp behind him.
Yeah, he just kind of obviously this shifter has MO of tying people up in the sewers and then throwing a tarp over them. I don't get who goes down to the sewers. I mean, the workers, but I don't know. It's weird.
Mostly no one. I mean, do you really want to be around a bunch of shit?
Literally?
Literally. Shapeshifter Dean is trying to explain to Rebecca that, like, what a shapeshifter is, and trying to explain to her that that's what's happening right now, and seeing how she would feel about someone being a shapeshifter. I think at least that's how it came off to me, and part of me feels like she's kind of blowing it off, like, whatever. Like, is
Wouldn't
it really?
you though?
And she calls a shapeshifter a genetic freak. And then that's where you see
him off.
It's like it turned on that rage switch.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm about to fuck you up.
Yeah. Gets angry.
He gets angry.
Yeah.
That it's like he's like, it's a mutation. It's genetic evolution.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's when like what you were saying earlier, that's when he was saying that he was hideous and he was hated and he was not socially accepted, and that's where
evolution kicked in
and he turned into something different, and that's where the shifting happens. And then his eyes flicker white and we know shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
But instead of letting us know what's going down right then, it cuts back to Sam and Dean in the sewer.
Yeah, and Dean, when he's trying to, like, get out of the ropes, it looks like he's giving someone, like, a reach behind. Like, that's what it looks like to me. I'm like, what are you doing, bud?
Or maybe he's scratching his butt. He's got that motion.
But his hands are too close together.
That's true.
Too close together.
That's true.
I mean, it was like the women's version of, like, try to touch your elbows behind your back.
When we're in the sewer with Sam and Dean at that point, we watch them escape, and they're able to get out. And Sam says something along the lines of, we need to call the cops and let them know what's going on. And he's like, well, but we can't because...
they're going to be looking for me.
I'm going to be there because he's wearing my meat suit. I like it.
But they obviously do it anyway.
Yeah.
They do it anyway. They also learn, like, Sam kind of makes the jump that the shapeshifter keeps the person alive that he shifted into to have that psychic connection to them to access their memories.
Yeah.
Which we kind of touched on before, but it, like, came full round.
Yeah.
While Sam was down there. So the shapeshifter's, like, trying to get romantic with Rebecca. It doesn't work, and he fucking snaps. And she's like, get out of my house. I'm going to call the cops. Like, leave. You need to go.
Yeah. And so she tries to call the cops on a tethered cord phone.
Which, what are those anymore?
And he, like, sweeps her feet out from underneath her and knocks her down and ties her up.
Yeah. Knocks her the fuck out.
Yeah, he knocks her down like hardcore.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Part of me at first, when I saw like Dean doing it and like tying her up, I was like, oh, that looks fun. That looks fun. But then I see him like backhand her. I'm like, that's hard stop.
Nope.
Pineapples. Pineapples. Safe word.
Safe word.
My safe word is pineapple juice.
So after we see, she's tied up and everything, we kind of go back full circle to what we saw in the beginning with her tied up in the chair, Dean being the one that's abusing her with the knife in his hand, and SWAT coming into the house. But now we know why it didn't really look.
Now we know it's the shapeshifter and not Dean.
Right.
And the shapeshifter throws a knife into one of the SWAT members' neck and gets away.
Yep. And the second story balcony that he was trying to escape out of in the very beginning, he actually does get away. Yeah. Jumps down and he gets away.
And then he goes into his villain's lair.
He goes to his lair.
And he shifts, and you
see him. Yeah, you see him shift, and it is gruesome.
It's so gross. Like, you see him ripping his skin off. You see his teeth falling out.
His teeth are falling out. He's, scratching the ground, the floor, and his nails are popping off. Like, his fingernails are coming off.
That makes my hands hurt.
Oh, all of this is so disgustingly painful looking. Like, when he rips his skin off, it's like bare muscle almost, and it just looks ugh.
And as everything is being, like, all of the skin and everything, as it's being thrown to the ground, it starts to melt
and bubble and
like it's been soaked in acid.
Yeah, and it just turns to goop, and that's how we find his body goop, and
that's how the goop happens.
It's that
when
that
shapeshifter
scene.
babies shift, it like explodes goop everywhere.
But that scene is so intensely disgusting that, like, the finger, if it was just like his body morphing and him ripping off his skin, that would be one thing. But you see his fingernails coming off and his teeth falling out, and it's
like being replaced by new teeth. And it looks so painful. And to have to live a life where that is part of your life, he's putting himself through it. But that looks fucking painful. Like, I would, if I were a shapeshifter and I had the choice to shift, and that's how I shift, I would never do it. I would deal with being whatever the fuck I was.
You know what I would do? I would find somebody who was okay with me being a shifter, who I didn't have to beat and tie up to keep alive. And I would be like, hey, do you want a twin for the rest of your life? Because I'd be that person. Mm-hmm. And then I would just turn into that person, and we could pretend like we're twins for the rest of our life.
Yeah, make sure their parents are dead.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, or not. And if they're like, hey, I really don't want to go to holidays this weekend. You want to just go? Free food.
Right?
But yeah, no, that would not be pleasant, because that is.
It just, oh, God.
Yeah.
So, and then it shows Sam and Dean, who got out, and they're watching the news through a storefront, and I have never in my life ever seen TVs in a fucking storefront the way that you see them in this just TV store, I guess.
Well, and it says that it's a stereos, televisions, and appliances store. But we have those, and I have never, ever, ever seen a storefront with just TVs.
I haven't either, but when I think of a store like that, I think of Sears.
Right.
But we also live in Idaho, where things are generally almost nicer than a lot of big cities, like I don't know. I don't want to name places and then get yelled at. So,
well, it's just, I don't know. It's weird because I've never seen that, and
so maybe they have them in.
But I've gone outside
cities.
Of Idaho. Like I
have too, but I've never seen them there either.
Me either. So maybe it's like an East Coast thing, but they're on the West Coast. They're in Missouri.
That's middle.
Oh,
not
yeah.
West Coast. I love you.
But Missouri's not a big...
Geography.
I've been to Missouri. No, I haven't. I've been to Minnesota.
It starts with an M. It's the same thing.
They're kind of in the same spot. But anyways, whatever.
They see the...
Whatever. Fuck.
They're watching the news, and Dean's like...
It's not even a good picture.
Yeah, because
they're showing a picture
wanted.
of him as a wanted man.
So
Because he's on the lam.
Well, it's a sketch.
Yeah, it's a sketch.
So how the fuck... Okay, roll with me on this one. I've got a question.
I might have an answer.
How well, I guess they would have gotten it from Rebecca, the sketch of Dean. Mm-hmm. But it comes out later that she's like, she gets beaten and taken too, down to the fucking lair.
Mm-hmm. So it's not her that gives it. Maybe it's one of the SWAT guys.
Oh, possibly. Okay.
How would they give that detailed of a description?
When they just saw the side of his face in the dark?
I don't know. And the one guy that got his full face got fucking stabbed in the neck.
He gone.
I don't know. That's a good question. Very valid. It's also a TV show, so
yeah,
it doesn't
true.
always have to make sense.
Well, so after they see his, the wanted posters in the storefront with all of the fucking TVs. If you live in a place where this truly is happening and you see TVs in a storefront, or if you have ever seen TVs in a storefront, please, find us on our Facebook and leave us a comment or show us a picture or something.
Please. Oh my God, please show us a picture. Even if it's an old one, can you just show us a fucking picture? Because when I imagine the TVs in the storefront, I think of the 80s.
Me too.
The old, or the early 90s, the old Batman movies.
Yeah, and I don't know. So if you have truly seen this, and it is something that happens, and Tasha and I are just living in a world where we have never seen this.
Yeah.
Please let us know. Our Facebook is...
Get the Salt, a Supernatural podcast.
That's what it is. Get the Salt, a Supernatural podcast. Go on there and fucking leave a comment and leave us a picture and let us know what the hell is going on out there. Because in Idaho, apparently, we live under rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, that and cell phone stores. I see those in movies, too. Just random, it says cell phone.
I was going to say, we have, Verizon stores and shit.
It's like Radio Shack, but it just says, cell phones above. But Radio Shack's closed down.
Radio Shack's closed down, yeah.
So, and you see those with, the guys standing in cell phone suits, spinning the signs.
Yeah.
I'm where the fuck, what?
Where are the cell phone stores?
I've seen an AT&T store,
yeah.
and I've seen Verizon.
And T-Mobile.
Or, Cricket.
Yeah.
But I've never seen...
Just cell phone.
Cell phones. I don't know.
I don't either.
Maybe they just didn't want to pay for the advertising.
Of an actual name brand, like Verizon,
Right.
AT&T, or T-Mobile.
So after that, they decide that they need to go back to Baby and get some weapons to...
Kill this motherfucker!
To kill the fucking shapeshifter.
Yeah.
And, of course, the cops have Baby, surrounded. So they walk up.
How the fuck did they know that was his car?
Well, Rebecca.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Rebecca.
I keep forgetting about her.
That's why they got the description, because Rebecca didn't get taken until after she was released from the hospital. Light bulb.
There we go. That makes sense.
Also,
I'll go with that one.
So Sam, takes the fall for the whole thing when the cops surround Baby so Dean can get away.
Right.
My question is, why the fuck didn't they surround Baby again after they didn't get Dean?
I don't know.
Because Dean's able to go back the next day and get his gun
and broad daylight and be fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The cops are not on their A game here.
This
Where
episode, though.
Where is this again?
Good God, Missouri. No, Minnesota. Heck.
Wait.
It's in Minnesota.
It's in Minnesota?
It is.
Let's not go there. Seems like their cops suck. So, Dean gets his weapon.
Gun. And Sam told him, don't go down to the sewers by yourself. And Dean's like, okay.
Yeah, right. I promise.
Promise I won't do that. Yeah, that's a big old fat lie.
Yeah, so he goes down into the sewers, and you just see, goopy messes and, trophies from all of these victims. It's fucking gross. If I was a shapeshifter and I shifted like that, I would, make sure that I had, a special room to shift in.
Right.
So that way, all of the goop is just in one area and not anywhere that's close to where my living quarters are, because that's fucking gross.
So I'm seeing it as, one great big shower. With a big old drain where you can wash away your body goop and then shower.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm reading the series, the Anita Blake series.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's just a bunch of porn with shapeshifters and vampires.
Vampires?
Vampires. My mouth forgot how to work there for a minute.
Words are hard.
But that's one of the things is how shapeshifters shift is like when they go into their animal form.
Yeah.
It's like werewolves and stuff.
Right.
Their skin just kind of like sloughs off them in this weird clear goop. And sometimes if you're too close to them and it gets on you, you have to go to the communal showers and rinse it off of you because it's so thick and goopy that it clogs the drains in the book.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That
I'm like,
sounds
that's
terrible.
It's really gross. And then there's some like graphic scenes where like men have shifted on top of this woman. Or like while they're inside her.
Oh no, and leave like penis parts goopy inside of her?
That's all I can think of. And I'm like, that's so fucking gross.
Like it melted inside of her?
Yeah. I think I'm on like book 20.
Oh Lord.
4. I think I'm on book 24.
That
Yeah.
sounds terrible.
Because I'm committed and I have to.
I gotta finish it.
I have to finish it. I start a book, I get interested, and then like I have to power through all the bad stuff to just finish it and say I read it.
Oh my God.
I'm determined.
That sounds like a terrible time.
Yeah, it like shifts inside of her, and she's like, I realized, and he's much bigger now. And I'm like, ew.
Oh,
what's wrong with
man.
you? This is not a book I should be reading. Dean finds Rebecca down there underneath the tarp.
Of course, she's underneath the tarp, and she looks like a fucking troll. Like, she looks like she hasn't brushed her hair in days, but she obviously has gone to the hospital. She obviously has talked to the cops, like,
and been released.
And all of a sudden, she now looks like she's been living under that tarp for a week and a half. That's why I'm so confused on how they got, like, how they knew baby was theirs, and how...
yeah, that makes sense.
It just is very confusing, but... Whatever. So Dean finds
Rebecca, but Sam doesn't know that. So when Sam first goes to Rebecca's house, it's Rebecca.
Yeah, and he's talking to her, and she asks him, how would you kill this shifter? And he tells her how. Like, you shoot him with a silver bullet right in the heart, and then she fucking knocks him out.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Bam.
Good to know you know how to fucking kill me. And she knocks him out with a beer bottle. And then shifts back into Dean.
Yeah, he wakes up and it's Dean, and the shapeshifter's like, yeah, the cops are going to see that your brother killed you, and then they're going to be on the hunt for him, not me.
Yeah, he's just a terrible person.
Yeah.
Shifter or not, he's a terrible person.
And he stabs the knife down into the pool table, and Sam is like, I'm going to take this opportunity to
cut my ropes off.
Yeah. Weakest fucking ropes I've ever seen in my life.
Or sharpest fucking knife.
Yeah. Like, that's got to be, like, the what is it, Japanese steel, which is, like, the sharpest fucking ever.
Something.
And then huge epic fight scene ensues.
Yeah, like, major fight scene. And
it's so good.
Yeah, you like the fight scenes.
They did really good in the first few seasons. Like,
Yeah.
I'm super impressed with the fight scenes. Real
well,
proud of them.
and...
Good job, Eric Kripke. Is that right? Tell me if I'm saying your name wrong.
Eric Kripke?
Yeah.
Yeah. But at one point in the fighting, the shifter Dean is on top of Sam, and he's like breaking his trachea. Like, he's killing him. He's going to die. And real Dean comes in with his, guns drawn.
Silver bullets
locked and loaded. Pew, pew! And finger guns! But his was a real gun. Well,
it's a gun.
It's a gun. And kills the shifter.
Yeah.
So...
he also goes up to the shifter and rips his necklace off of him and takes it back.
He takes his necklace back, but that's a very important piece of jewelry in the show.
Yeah,
we don't know why yet, but it was given to him by Sam. It looks like a demon head to me.
Yeah, like an old fashioned demon head.
Yeah, but Sam gave it to him when they were kids, and it's like this amulet they used to try and find God.
But God made it so he can turn it on and off.
Yeah,
so.
Chuck is just an asshole.
Disclaimered in the first episode.
Yeah. Yes. It was all disclaimered. If you're still listening, which we hope you are, you knew that there was a chance that shit was going to get revealed.
Yeah. And so Shapeshifter's dead. Everything's fine. Back to sunshine and rainbows.
Well, and they blame the murder, Emily's murder, Zach's girlfriend. They blame her murder on Dean.
Yeah, and then everything gets blamed on Dean.
Everything gets blamed on Dean, but they don't actively look for the real Dean because Shifter Dean is already dead.
Yeah, and the shifter doesn't shift back to its original form in
Which
death.
is weird.
Yeah, every single thing that you find on the lore on shifters they always go back to their original
Or
form
yeah,
after death.
Yep, like if you kill a werewolf in their wolf form, they will go back to their human form.
Yeah.
Or all of them. Yeah. I always hit Beavis and Butthead. God, I get to that point where I'm like, yeah. Fuck. Anyways,
Yeet.
shit.
So at the end of it, like, everybody's fine, obviously. And Rebecca is talking to Sam, and she's like, so this is your life, huh? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, did anybody know? And he's like, well, no.
She's like, not even Jess.
Yeah, not even Jess. And
Not
he's
even
like,
Jess.
no, not even Jess.
You know what I've noticed, too, with this episode? There is zero mention of their dad.
Oh, there was at the beginning.
But it's like they're not, it almost seems like they're not actively looking for him anymore. They're just going from place to place at this point. They're not, obviously, but it just kind of hits this, it almost sets the tone a little bit differently now. Because in the beginning, the very first episode, all the way up until here, we're talking about like trying to find dad, and Sam is throwing all these little bitch fits because they're not looking for dad
being a
anymore.
butthole.
Yeah, and so there's all these little, like, they sprinkle it all in, but this is the first episode that we see that they don't really mention him. They have a little bit of a,
At the very beginning, but other than that, there's nothing.
it's just a mention. It's not of their dad. It's not trying to look for him.
No.
So I thought that was kind of interesting that they're already, this is episode, 6? 5? 6? Where are we at?
6.
The fuck are we doing here?
6. 6?
Hi, my name's Haley. I have a podcast about supernatural. What the fuck episode are we on? But we're on episode 6 already, and the tone is already being shifted to just being about
Them. And their
boys.
insanely toxic, codependent behavior.
Sam and Dean.
Yeah. Insanely toxic. And I love this show. This is why we do a podcast about it. But at the same time, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I hope my kids do not end up as codependent as these people
On
are.
anybody.
Like, I don't wish that upon anyone because it is toxic.
Toxic. I thought you were going to say something about a twat. But
I mean, I could, but...
But yeah, the episode ends, and that's pretty much just... I mean, we get another shot of baby going down the road. I mean, they're headed to the next.
It seems like that's how it they all end at the beginning, is baby's ass.
I'm okay about it. So I'm okay with it. Like, show me baby's ass any day of the week, and I'll be like, yep. I love baby. She's my favorite character.
I am. I'm really sad that they don't use an actual, like, from the set baby for Comic-Cons. They use
Charlie.
Yeah, they use Charlie, which is owned by a family in, like, the Midwest, and, like, they travel
They
around.
recreated baby,
Yeah,
and they did a really good job.
They did an excellent job, like, down to
Yeah.
the T with, like, the Legos and the Army Man and the vents and stuff in the cigarette holder. But it's not from the show, but I do commend them for having
It's
it.
cosplay for a car.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to put it. Cosplay for a car.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they did. Well, and just like with, I'm sure, I mean, I've seen Mystery Machines and Tow Mater tow trucks, and
There's a Mystery Machine here local.
yeah, that's why I'm saying I've seen the Mystery Machine and a Tow Mater tow truck and things like that, and I'm sure there's a Herbie out there somewhere, the bug. So yeah, cosplay for cars.
Yeah.
Where can they find you, Tasha?
They can find me at Get the Salt, Tasha.
On
On Twitter.
the Twitter. And what's our Twitter podcast name?
@_Get the Salt.
There you go. Nailed
I had to
it.
think about it for a minute. I got really nervous. You put me on the spot.
So you can find me at Get the Salt Haley on the Twitter. And then we also have our Facebook page that we mentioned previously. And if you fucking have any pictures of these storefronts with the TVs, please put it on there.
Please. Seriously, we've had people post on our Facebook page already. Do it.
Yes.
Show us these storefronts.
Please.
We
And
would
it is
appreciate you.
the Get the Salt is Supernatural Podcast is the name of our Facebook page. And then if you want to email us, Tasha and I will be checking our emails, and it is podcastgetthesalt@gmail.com. Or you can email me at haleygetthesalt@gmail.com.
And you cannot email me. You cannot.
But they can.
At podcast,
Get
Get
the
the
Salt
Salt. But I don't have
@gmail.com.
one. I don't have a personal one. I will answer the regular one for y'all.
Yes.
So,
All right. Well, that was fun.
that was fun.
That was a hard one, though, because there was a lot of back and forth, but we made it through.
We did it.
We made it through the wilderness. You know we made it through. Didn't know how lost I was until I found you.
I don't know the words to this song.
That's all I know. Okay, bye.
Bye.